In this video, we'll look at how new user accounts are created, how we can lock and disable accounts, and how to manage some details on the accounts. Creating a new user account is very simple, but we should always check that an account does not exist first. It's common for people to forget that they once had an account, and we want to avoid creating duplicate accounts. To check, open the global directory and search on your company name. Keep in mind that there may be multiple entries for your company, different countries, regions, departments, and so on. Let's assume a new user account is required. We go to Setup and then Create User. Enter their name, email address, and decide on a username for them. The system will tell you if a username is already taken. You can also add them to any projects they need access to. Click Invite when you're done, and that's it. They'll get an email with a login link as well as a link to a video to get them started. Now let's look at locking and disabling user accounts. First, we'll open up a list of accounts via Setup and User Accounts list. Click on a name to edit the details. Once a user account has been created, it can never be deleted. And this is to ensure that data integrity is maintained. So, what should we do if someone leaves a company? At the bottom of the user information page, there are two checkboxes: account locked and account disabled. The locked option is something that I will explain later, but for now it's important to understand that this will be checked if a user has tried to log in unsuccessfully 5 times, either using the wrong username or password. If this box is checked, you can simply uncheck it to unlock the account. If we're dealing with someone that has left the company, we would check both boxes and click Save, and that's it. Obviously, if they return to the company, you can enable and unlock the account. Notice that the username or login name is shown on the page. Often, that's the thing the person's forgotten when they're trying to log in after not using ACONEX for some time. It's worth noting that whilst you're able to change the majority of the details on this page, you can't change the user's given or family name. If someone's name does change, for example through marriage, they need to contact our service desk team to get that changed. This is part of our compliance requirements. Finally, let's look at some settings. First, there's the Administration tab at the top of the screen. This is where you can change the password strength, and you can choose from standard and complex. Then there's the access rule for the user. This determines how often someone is required to change their password. These can also be changed at the organisation level, and we cover that in more detail in another video. The default settings are suitable for most organisations and scenarios, but you or your company may want to change them to better match specific policies or procedures. Then there's the password button. This allows you to create a new password for that user. Note you'll have to enter your own password in the first box to confirm your own login before changing the user's password. Whilst this is a useful feature, you probably don't want to get stuck doing this on a regular basis. It's much better to get a user to use the link on the login page instead. Here's a quick recap. A locked account is typically because a user has entered their login details incorrectly 5 times. But a locked account can still receive mail and notifications and can be seen by others in the project and global directories. And that user can also request a password reset via the login page, which will then unlock their account. A disabled account prevents the user from resetting their login details and hides their details in the system. However, their details will still appear on historic records within a project. That's why it's important you lock and disable an account if that person's left your company. That way they cannot access potentially sensitive company or project related information.